chair. It's not good. Sit in the chair. Sit. Sit there. Sit in the chair. Gopi Jana Ballava Gopi Jana Ballava Yasadanandana Gajajana Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Premanande. It's not working before, even before? It was working with you? Something disconnected. Huh? It doesn't work. Bluetooth? Bluetooth?
Not setting Bluetooth.
Oh. You can get Bhagavad Gita,
Yeah,
all of you. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesa Sunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Om Jnanatimirandasya Gyanam Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah Sri Chaitanya Manovistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamaya Dati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Sejuta Padakamalam Shri Gurum Vaishnavam Shah Sirupam Sagrajatam Sagana Raghunatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Sadvadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padam Sagana Nandita Sri Visakam Vitam He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostate Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrisabhanu Sate Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpataruvyascha vacha patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo namo namaha Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Shivashadi Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Before we start, is this like, can we turn this off? Maybe this is like too high. It's too hot. You feel hot? Maybe it's 35 degrees or something? 30? Huh? You can put it 25 something. Okay. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Bhagavad Gita as it is, chapter 8, Attaining the Supreme, text number 14. Ananya Cheta Satatam Yomam. We do it again. Ananya Cheta Satatam Yomam Smarati Nityasa Tasyaham Sulabha Parta Nitya Yuktasya Yogina. Sureswar Prabhu.
Ananyacheta satatam.
Ananyacheta satatam.
Mam smarati nityasaha.
Yomam smarati nityasaha.
Tasyaham sulabha partha.
Tasyaham sulabha partha.
Tasya yoginaha.
Nityayuktasya yoginah.
Ananyacheta satatam.
Ananyacheta satatam.
Yomam smarati nityashaha.
Yomam smarati nityasaha.
Tasyaham sulabha partha.
Tasyaham sulabha partha.
Nityayuktasya yoginah.
Nityayuktasya yoginah. Ananyacheta satatam.
Ananyacheta satatam.
Yomam smarati nityasaha.
Yomam smarati nityasa.
Tasyaham sulabha partha.
Tasyaham sulabham partha.
Tasya yoginah.
Nityayuktasya yoginah.
Mataji.
Ananyacheta satatam.
Ananyacheta satatam.
Yomam smarati nityashaha.
Yomam smarati nityasa.
Tasyaham sulabha partha.
Tasyaham sulabham partha.
Nityayuktasya yoginah.
Nityayuktasya yoginah. Ananyacheta satatam.
Yomam smarati nityashaha. Tasyaham sulabha partha. Nityayuktasya yoginah.
Okay, word for word meaning. Ananya Cheta. Without deviation of the mind. Satatang. Always. Ya. Anyone who. Mam. Me. Krishna. Smarati. Remembers. Nityasa. Regularly. Tasya. To him. Aham. I am. Sulabha. Very easy to achieve. Partha. Osana Prita. Nitya. Regularly. Yuktasya. Engaged. Yogina. For the devotee. It's a couple of pages, purport. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada Gate. For one who always remembers me without deviation, I am easy to obtain, O son of Prita, because of his constant engagement in devotional service. Everyone please repeat. For one who always remembers me without deviation, I am easy to obtain, O son of Prita, because of his constant engagement in devotional service. Purport. This verse specially describes the final destination attained by the unalloyed devotees who serve the Supreme Personality of Godhead in Bhakti Yoga. Previous verses have mentioned 4 different kinds of devotees: the distressed, the inquisitive, those who seek material gain, and the speculative philosophers. Different processes of liberation have also been described: Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, and Hatha Yoga. The principles of these yoga systems have some bhakti added, but this verse particularly mentions pure bhakti yoga, without any mixture of jnana, karma, or hatha. As indicated by the word ananya cheta, in pure bhakti yoga, the devotee desires nothing but Krishna. A pure devotee does not desire promotion to heavenly planets, nor does he seek oneness with the Brahmajyoti or salvation or liberation from material entanglement. A pure devotee does not desire anything. In the Chaitanya Charitamrita, the pure devotee is called Niskama, which means he has no desire for self-interest. Perfect peace belongs to him alone, not to them who strive for personal gain. Hmm. Whereas a jnana yogi, karma yogi, or hatha yogi has his own selfish interest, a perfect devotee has no desire other than to please the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Therefore, the Lord says that for anyone who is unflinchingly devoted to Him, He is easy to attain. A pure devotee always engages in devotional service to Krishna in one of his various personal features. Krishna has various plenary expansions and incarnations, such as Ram and Nrsimha, and a devotee can choose to fix his mind in loving service to any of these transcendental forms of the Supreme Lord. Such a devotee meets with none of the problems that plague the practitioners of other yogas. Bhakti yoga is very simple and pure and easy to perform. One can begin simply by chanting Hare Krishna. The Lord is merciful to all, but as we have already explained, He is especially inclined toward those who always serve Him without deviation. The Lord helps such devotees in various ways. As stated in the Vedas, Katha Upanishad, Canto 1, Chapter 2, Text 23, Yang Ivaisha Brinotitena Labhyas Tais Yaisha Atma Vivrinoti Tanong Shwam. One who is fully surrendered and engaged in the devotional service of the Supreme Lord can understand the Supreme Lord as He is. And as stated in the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 10, text 10, Dhammi Buddhi Yogam Tam. The Lord gives such a devotee sufficient intelligence so that ultimately the devotee can attain Him in his spiritual kingdom. The special qualification of the pure devotee is that he is always thinking of Krishna without deviation and without considering the time or place. There should be no impediments. He should be able to carry out his service anywhere and at any time. Some say that the devotee should remain in holy places like Vrindavan or some holy town where the Lord lived. But a pure devotee can live anywhere and create the atmosphere of Vrindavan by his devotional service. It was Sri Advaita who told Lord Chaitanya, wherever you are, O Lord, there is Vrindavan. As indicated by the words Satatam and Nityasha, which means always, regularly, or every day, a pure devotee constantly remembers Krishna and meditates upon Him. These are qualifications of the pure devotee for whom the Lord is most easily attainable. Bhakti Yoga is the system that the Gita recommends above all others. Generally, the yogis are engaged in 5 different ways. Shanta Bhakta, engaged in devotional service in neutrality. Dasya Bhakta, engaged in devotional service as servant. Sakya Bhakta, engaged as friend. Vatsalya Bhakta, engaged as parent. And Madhurya Bhakta, engaged as conjugal lover of the Supreme Lord. In any of these ways, the pure devotee is always constantly engaged in the transcendental loving service of the Supreme Lord and cannot forget the Supreme Lord. And so for him, the Lord is easily attained. A pure devotee cannot forget the Supreme Lord for a moment, and similarly, the Supreme Lord cannot forget his pure devotee for a moment. This is the great blessing of Krishna conscious process of chanting the Maha Mantra Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Ananya Cheta Satatam Yomam Shmarati Nityasa Tasyaham Shulabha Partha Nitya Yuktasya Yogina. It's amazing, this chapter, which is entitled Attaining the Supreme, it's like right from the very beginning, explains about um, where is the final destination of those who are always thinking of Krishna, fully surrendered, and wholeheartedly performing devotional service unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Isn't it like every verse is like, he will reach the final destination. He will reach, no doubt, he will reach me, everything. So, especially here in this verse, whereby he will attain the supreme destination, the spiritual world. Hmm. First of all, he says that there is no material impediment, especially for those who are performing devotional service. Hmm. The final destination is that one who served the Supreme Personality of Godhead in Bhakti Yoga. So, in the beginning, as Prabhupada mentions in the purport, that there are four kinds of personalities who approach the Supreme Lord, but with ulterior motive. Hmm. The distressed, the inquisitive, those who seek material gain, and the speculative philosophers. And then there are those who also perform different processes of yoga: karma yoga, jnana yoga, and hatha yoga. So, yoga means to link up, yoga means to be united, to be unified, to become one, but not in the sense that losing one's identity, just like the Mayavadis, the impersonalist goal to be one. But for the devotees, to be one with the Supreme Lord means to fulfill the desire of the Supreme Lord. Our main duty is to serve the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So, yes, our main desire should be to be sincere, to be sincere in our execution of bhakti, to have that desire to make advancement in Krishna consciousness. So any of these processes of yoga mentions by Srila Prabhupada, these different principles, they have to include bhakti. Without bhakti, then it will not be fulfilled. It will not become successful. It's like nowadays, there are so many so-called yoga practices. They consider ancient process of yoga, like say hatha yoga, but their desire is to increase their sense pleasure, to increase their material desire, to enjoy the senses with the sense objects. So, however, the process is that we have to perform pure devotional service. It says here in the note that Krishna gives intelligence by which they can attain him. who's performing bhakti earnestly, sincerely, without any ulterior motive, then that is considered as pure devotional service. Other than that, others also may perform devotional service with motive. Those performing bhakti in order of goodness, or passion, or ignorance is not considered as pure bhakti, ananya bhakti, amala bhakti. That means there is tinge of selfishness. If everything that one execute is only for the pleasure of the Supreme Lord, which is the topmost level of bhakti as exemplified by the inhabitants of Vrindavan, then that is the desired goal. It seems to be very very difficult to attain. Yes, it is difficult to attain in the conditioned state, but for those whose intention is pure, only for the pleasure of the Supreme Lord and His devotees, then it is easy. We've heard many stories, even from the Chaitanya Charitamrita. Uh, we've told this many times, like Kolavecha Sridhar, whose earnings is very meager, selling banana products. But his main intention is to please Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And he will give half of his income to the service, worship of Ganga. So, yes, niskama. Pure devotee is niskama. He does not desire anything. No desire for self-interest. It seems to be impossible to attain, especially in the preliminary stage, in the conditioned state. But that is our goal. That's why we're practicing bhakti. So ultimately, we will be able to become detached from the material desire. And it says here, perfect peace belongs to him alone, not to them who strive for personal gain. As Prabhupada was once asked, we've heard that the other day, what is the goal of life? Prabhupada says the goal of life is to enjoy. So how can we enjoy if we're not peaceful? First, we have to be peaceful. And how you attain becoming peaceful? Then controlling the senses. And we've heard that also in the Srimad Bhagavatam, in the chapter that we're reading right now, the killing of Jarasandha, that no one can conquer Krishna without controlling one's senses. Without controlling one's senses, how we can attain Krishna, how we can become peaceful. Without becoming peaceful, no one can become happy. So Ananya Cheta. Ananya Cheta means without deviation of the mind. The mind has to be completely focused unto the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord, unto the instructions coming from the Supreme Lord and the Spiritual Master. There's no difference between the instructions coming from the Supreme Lord and his pure devotee. Whatever the pure devotee says, that comes from the Supreme Lord. Because he's the via media. He is the transparent medium whereby we can attain love of God. So I was asked that without having a clear picture, that means without understanding the spiritual master, then we cannot understand Krishna. It's not possible, isn't it?
Yeah.
The Mayavadis, they jump. Well, they think that when they attain liberation, then they push the guru aside. It's not possible. Guru will always be there. Even in the spiritual world, we'll be serving our guru, and the guru is the one that connects us to Krishna. We cannot go direct to Krishna. So how we control the mind? Uh, Very easy. Always think of Krishna and never forget him. Prabhupada says, it is not possible to control the mind, but it is only possible if we think of Krishna. And in Kali Yuga, thinking of Krishna means chanting the holy name of the Lord. So Ananya Chaita means without mixture of jnana, karma, and hatha, yogas. No. We do yoga. When we say yoga, means expression of our senses, utilizing our senses in serving the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That is our yoga. Others, they will spend hours and hours meditating in the tip of their nose. Or, as Prabhupada would, he would make a mockery of them. They're doing yoga, but actually they're sleeping and they're snoring. So no, 9 o'clock, we're always engaged. And this is how we can control our mind. If we engage our senses in serving the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So one should not have any other desire but Krishna. One pointed attention. It's like Prabhupada in the Srimad Bhagavatam also. There was a story of an arrow maker. An arrow maker is very, very focused, is very attentive in making sure that he will make the perfect arrow. And the king passed by along with his entourage. And he didn't even notice the king passed by because he's so focused in sharpening the arrow. So we should be like that also, in spite of so many distractions, so many obstacles, so many shortcomings, problems that will come to our lives from the past. We should not hanging into those things, or even right now. We should be always mindful of our goal and many more. The more one advances in Krishna consciousness, the more tests will be there by Maya to distract us or deviate us from becoming pure devotee of the Supreme Lord. So we should try our very best to pass all of those tests. So that's why we always pray to Lord Nrsimhadev, pray to the spiritual master, pray to the disciplic section, pray to Lord Krishna, that we may not be deviated, that we'll be able to cross over all of those hurdles. And then when we prove ourselves that we are focused, our mind is always with Krishna, then Maya Devi will give up on us. So pure bhakti yoga, ananya cheta, is the word, without deviation of the mind. And according to what we've read here, yes, the karmi, their desires to be fulfilled is meant for their own sense enjoyment, sense gratification. Jnani, their desires to be relieved from material misery. The yogis, their desires is to obtain mystic powers, mystic abilities. Yes. But the pure devotee, their desires is only Krishna. They're ready to even go to hell from Chaitanya Charitamrita. They're ready to go to hell just as long as they are serving the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So, satatam, always. Satatam means always, regularly, every day. That's why it is advisable that we follow strictly, especially the Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti. And in the beginning, yes, very difficult, but then it becomes part of our daily life, daily activities. It becomes normal, normalized. So it says here, refers to pure devotees constantly remembering Krishna and meditating on Him. So everything that we do, day in and day out, is only for this goal to always remember Krishna and never forget Him. There is no other way. There is no other conclusion. Everything that we do, cooking for Krishna, cleaning for Krishna, chanting Hare Krishna, distributing Srila Prabhupada's books, distributing prasadam, making garlands, decorating the Lord, performing arti, preaching to the youths, everything. Even you may say, if you're in, let's say you're in the accounts department, it's not just you're counting Lakshmi, or trying to make sure that everything is accounted for, but because everything belongs to Krishna. That's why our account says Prabhupada's accounts. That's the name, Prabhupada's accounts. So everything that we do, we should be mindful that this is for the pleasure of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And ultimately, it says here, that pure devotee is always thinking of Krishna without deviation, without considering the time or place. And therefore, some say that devotees should remain in holy places like Vrindavan or some holy town where the Lord lived. That's true. But for a pure devotee, he carries Vrindavan with him. Prabhupada travels all over the world 2-3 times in 14 years. And wherever he goes, that is Vrindavan. Wherever a pure devotee goes, that is Vrindavan. That is the mood of the pure devotee. He carries the land of Vrindavan. He carries Vrindavan within his heart. He meets also will have a glimpse of what it feels like to be in Vrindavan. Being in Vrindavan means always thinking of Krishna. So ultimately, Vrindavan is within our heart. And whomever he meets makes him feel like he is also in Vrindavan. That is the potency of the pure devotee. And remember what we read, this is the most amazing thing. Our goal is to always think of Krishna. But Krishna is always thinking of his pure devotee as well. Do you think Krishna is thinking of something else? No. He's only thinking of, oh, how is my devotee? Oh, if he's in danger, oh, I should be there immediately. I should be there to protect him. This is the reciprocation between the devotee and the Supreme Lord. It's like the parents, they're always thinking of their children. They may be far, far away. They may be in college or university, or let's say they already have their own family with grandchildren. They're still thinking of their children, but more of the grandkids. It says that the grandchildren, they're dear more to the grandparent than the grandparent or their parents compared to their own children. So this is Krishna's reciprocation. And the pure devotee creates Vrindavan wherever he goes. It's like when Prabhupada was in New York, you will always say, oh, now I'm feeling separation from my Vrindavan. That feeling of separation means you are connected. Separation, when we have that feelings, when we have that emotions of separation, we mentioned that the other day, when we feel separation from Vrindavan or Krishna or the spiritual master, that means we're connected. The more we think of Krishna or Vrindavan or a spiritual master, then there is no separation. You're only thinking that you're separated. It's like sometimes Krishna and Radharani, they'll be face to face with each other, but because of their intense